So Bernie did his Fox town hall and he was spectacular. I mean, it was amazing. So for those of you who haven't seen it yet, I'll put links in the comments, but you've got to see it because this is Bernie Sanders like at his best. I mean, it really was good. And I did a video a while ago, right, when he first announced and how like the establishment people were freaking out about how this was a bad idea. And I was saying like, this is a great idea and this is awesome that he's doing it. And it turns out that it was a good idea, that it was great that he went on. And so I was actually, but I was like thinking, what is the real reason that the establishment people didn't want him to go on? Because again, like, I don't know, like the skeptic in me was kind of like, why were they thinking this was a bad idea? And so after watching it and seeing like all the comments and things afterwards, it got me thinking. So here's one of the biggest things. So it was like a rating smash. So Bernie's Fox Town Hall is now the most watched town hall of the 2020 election. Like 2.55 million viewers tuned in, and get this, at 3:30 in the afternoon on West Coast time. Right, it was on at 6:30 in the East Coast, which is prime time, but it was, people were still working the West Coast. And it beat like Kamala Harris's CNN town hall. She had 1.95 million. But she was on at prime time, like 10 o'clock East, 7 o'clock West Coast, right? Which is like the biggest, like, big audience. And so Bernie's town hall in the middle of the afternoon had like 600,000 more viewers, which is amazing. And Fox News like bragged about that. In fact, they bragged so much about it. They put a full page ad in the Washington Post, like full page color ad, talking about this is the most watched town hall and with all the numbers. And then they even put out another thing saying that night that Bernie's town hall had more viewers than CNN and MSNBC at the same time put together. So, which I think is funny that Fox News, who is always banging on like, socialism is bad and people like Bernie and the radical left are going to destroy America. And here they are like bragging about like the rating sensation that Bernie's town hall was. So, and there was like a lot of great moments in there. So I got to thinking that maybe the real reason the establishment didn't want Bernie to do this is because they knew it would be successful. They knew that he would, do well at reaching out to people across the chasm, right? People who have been scared by socialism, who don't want like big government, and, who like, are just kind of like in this thing, this programming, especially on Fox News, right? Fox viewers. And if you watch, like, Bernie, a lot of the comments I heard from people who were like conservatives or, right-leaning, they were like, like, I don't believe in his policies, but they were like, it was good that he went on. And the common comment I heard was, Bernie made sense. Like, he makes sense. I mean, so it doesn't matter where you are in the political spectrum. Does it make sense? Is it right that 3 families have more wealth than the bottom half? Does it make sense, or is it right that corporations make billions in profits and pay 0 taxes? Like, to most people, it's like, no, that's not right. That doesn't make sense. That's not fair, right? And also with healthcare, like I think the biggest, this was funny, like the biggest thing that like I think backfired with Fox is, when Brett Baer asked people like, who of you with insurance would move over to Medicare for all? And not only was like the whole room raising their hands, they were like cheering and like, yeah, it was like, even I was kind of surprised. There was a lot of cheering during that town hall, which was surprising. And later I found out that Fox actually worked with a lot of local groups, to put that audience together. So, you would think that they got more like again, more conservative, right-leaning, you know, the typical Fox viewers. And, you know, that audience was really excited to hear from Bernie Sanders. And Bernie did really well. And, you know, another highlight was when he was asked about democratic socialism, right? And he just kind of pointed out that, again, this is not being anti-capitalism, but is creating a system that is more fair and works for all, and includes things that, you know, should be a right, like healthcare and retiring with dignity, and, you know, a level of security, and having education, and having clean water and clean air, like basic things that most people would agree that, yes, like fundamentally, those are things that we should have as a right. There's nothing radical, you know, about that. And so, you know, a lot of people were like, man, this guy makes sense. He's not scary. And even, you know, when they got into the taxes, right? And like, how is like the money going to, you know, play into, like, he answered that really well, that yes, you will pay more taxes, but you're not going to pay for co-pays, premiums, deductibles. You don't have, like, at the time you go to the hospital to see your doctor, there's you don't have to pay for anything. You're not going to get massive bills later, and you get to pick your doctors, right? You get to pick your hospitals. There's no in-network conditions anymore, and then the government can negotiate, you know, drug pricing. Like, there's like a whole slew of benefits, and the way he explained it just made a lot of sense. And so a lot of people were like, this makes sense. So I think that's, you know, to me, I think that's the real reason the establishment didn't want Bernie to go on Fox, because they knew he would do well. They knew he would reach out to a broader audience, and that they knew that his favorability would go up, which it has. And it's got a lot of people talking about him and listening to him, and not surprising, a whole bunch of like other candidates now want to go do Fox town halls, right? Bernie was like a ratings hit, you know, so now, you know, CNN and MSNBC are looking like, holy crap, man, like, you know, that's a lot of ratings. So imagine they put Bernie on at actually prime time, right? He would probably get even more. So, you know, he did well. And I mean, you got to watch it. But another good reason to watch that town hall, it's good training. It is a good training video, because, you know, Bernie did a really good job of outlining what Medicare for All is, as versus like government run insurance. I mean, government run healthcare, which is what the right kind of, you know, uses as a counterpoint. And he talked about it more as it is a single payer insurance system, which is like a lot easier to understand. But yeah, I mean, it's a great training video. So when we go out for campaigning, especially if you're new, that's a great town hall to watch as like a training video on, you know, to learn like talking points for each of like the main issues, like Medicare for All, college, what is democratic socialism, war, you know, Bernie talked about that. My favorite part, one of my favorite parts in the town hall. So you know that meme about like every time America has made a big mistake, you can go onto YouTube and find a video of Bernie trying to burn block it. So Bernie said that himself, like, you know, go on to YouTube and you can find video of me talking about Iraq. And so I tweeted about that, but I was just like laughing hysterically. I'm like, Bernie memed himself. Go on to YouTube, like, go back. So anyway, I'm gonna put in the comments the link, you know, links to Bernie's Fox town hall. Definitely watch it, but it was a great success, and glad he did it, because he reached out to a lot more people.